All right, hello everybody. I am excited to try this again. I did this the other day with a William Wordsworth poem, and it's a practice that I do myself, or I have in the past. I kind of have gotten out of the habit. All right, hello everybody. I wanted to try to get back in the habit, and I thought I would do it, with you guys or anybody who might be interested watching it now or in the future. So the poem we're going to read today is The Cold Earth Slept Below by Percy Shelley. I really like Percy Shelley. I've tried reading some of his plays though, and I don't understand a lot of what he goes for sometimes, but I really enjoy exploring the romantic poets in general. I think they have a lot to offer us. I actually got this particular poem as I was exploring this book. I like this book a lot. It's a fun one to explore, the English Romantic verse. And the first thing I want to say is that the whole approach that I take, and for this live discussion too, is that I hope to kind of show you that anybody really can read and enjoy poetry. You do not need to have any kind of special experience. You don't need to have any kind of degree. This is really meant for you, but it helps to have some kind of look at what it kind of looks like to explore this. So what? So let me go ahead and pop this on the screen. I'm gonna move my camera a little wrong way. Move my camera a little bit. I'm gonna pop the words on the screen. There we go. And we will read through this together. So the first thing I always do is decide on reading a poem. Why should I read any poem? Why? Who cares about the poem? The way that I tend to choose poetry is just whim, just what I feel like. Sometimes I'll have a specific thing I'm looking for, but a lot of times, especially when just late night, I'm trying something new, I want to read a new poem, I will just flip open an anthology, or often I'll go to a favorite poet that I want to read a little bit more of, like William Wordsworth is my favorite, and I'll just flip through the collected works, read the first couple of lines, maybe see if there's anything there that I'm interested in. And in this one, the thing that struck me was just the line at the top two lines. It was kind of the perspective. So I'm looking down at my book. The cold earth slept below, above the cold sky shone. That really struck me. So, by the way, just to be clear, when I said I didn't read it, I haven't read it, but I always skim through a little bit before I decide to explore a poem, because it's a little, you don't want to invest time in something that has no interest to you. And you may still end up not liking it, which is okay too. But, all right, so yeah, I was just kind of flipping through, and again, just flipping like this, and like, okay, stop here. Didn't really hit for whatever reason, didn't feel like it. But this one felt like it. It also, I was in a mood of let's go a little bit slower. Let's go a little bit, not go into too much depth right now. So I wanted something a little shorter. We'll see if this worked. So I'm going to go ahead and read it. Okay. The cold earth slept below, above the cold sky shone, and all around, with a chilling sound, from caves of ice and fields of snow, the breath of night like death did flow, beneath the sinking moon. The wintry hedge was black, the green grass was not seen. The birds did rest on the bare thorn's breast, whose roots beside the pathway track had bound their folds o'er many a crack, which the frost had made between. Thine eyes glowed in the glare of the moon's dying light, as a fen fire's beam on a sluggish stream gleams dimly, so the moon shone there, and it yellowed the strings of the raven hair that shook in the wind of night. The moon made thy lips pale, beloved. The wind made thy bosom chill. the night did shed on thy dear head in frozen dew, and thou didst lie where the bitter breath of the naked sky might visit thee at will. So if you're like me, I didn't scroll down. If you're like me, then that made very little sense in my first reading. But something definitely struck me about it. And the main thing that struck me at first was the perspective. Poetry perspective tends to be pretty important. Like, who's seeing this? What are they seeing? What are they experiencing? That's always, questions that I think about when I'm reading. So let's go through this. I have pen and paper. I also have my OED, Oxford English Dictionary. I have the online version, but right now, you just saw me switch over. Okay, that's good to know. And the goal is to have these tools to help me analyze it, because I don't always know something. And one of the values of reading literature like this is to be able to expand your vocabulary, improve your diction, as well as have a great artistic experience. So it's a lot of values to reading poetry out loud yourself. But okay, let's go through this a little bit slowly. So again, the perspective is what interested me in this. So the cold earth slept below. Let's make sure you guys can see this a little better. So the cold earth slept below. So again, this is just a factual statement it's making, right? The cold earth slept below. But again, that's an interesting perspective. This is written, I think, in the 1816. When does Shelley die? Early 1820s. He dies 1822. So this is published in 1823, I think. And then it's compiled by his wife, Mary Shelley, the year after that. So I think it was first published in like a booklet and then published in an anthology of his work by his wife. And so anyway, so they didn't have astronauts back then. They didn't have satellites. So it's a great view. The cold earth slept below. So it's got like this God view of it. Above the cold sky shone. So it's a really interesting perspective. So it's like the cold earth slept below, but above. So where's the perspective here? And all around with a chilling sound. Now that really makes me think of kind of Gothic right away. And I really like Gothic. Gothic is a very fascinating genre. It is the twin sister, the dark side of the moon of Romanticism. And, the Gothic, and, he's married to Mary Shelley. I'm sure he had a big effect on her with his Gothicism. But just that visual of an all around with a chilling sound from caves of ice and fields of snow, the breath of night like death did flow beneath the sinking moon. So it's a great visual right off the bat. You have this visual of the sky above, or the sky shining, but you're looking down on all the earth, and the moon is kind of dipping down. So it's almost like this universe view of the world. It's kind of like, what am I trying to think of? Like, it's like the whole cosmos. That's how I'll put it. It's like all of cosmology, all the universe together. He's like capturing it in that first stanza. And then there's a sinking. I like the sinking imagery. So we're having a decline. We're talking about death too. Okay, the wintry hedge was black. Now, we all know what a hedge is, but there's a lot of different meanings. Hedge is one of those words I would definitely write down. I think of a hedge bush of some sort. But I always wonder if there's like secondary meanings to some of these words. So I will... Yeah, so like I think the idea of surrounding and fencing is a big part of it. So we know what a hedge is, a row of bushes or low trees, right? You know that. But it also has this kind of connotation of to surround with a hedge line, fence line, like there's something there. There might be something in the meaning of the poem. Great poetry is all about combinations of words and images and connotation and denotation. The green grass was not seen. The wintry hedge was black. Okay, so it's deep, dark night, I guess. The green grass was not seen, so covered in snow, I assume. The birds did rest on the bare thorn's breast, whose roots beside the pathway track had bound their folds or many a crack which the frost had made between. So, okay, that's interesting. So one thing I'm seeing already in terms of perspective is we're getting a kind of description. And it's almost like God is kind of descending down, and you're seeing all the cosmos or all the earth together. The cold earth slaps. So it's like you're seeing the blue marble of the earth above the sky shone all around. You have this, and you're going into caves and fields. I could be wrong. This is a first reading, but that's one thing I'm getting out of that. And then you're kind of honing in a little bit more on the green grass was not seen, on images and thoughts that happen in winter, that all the birds go away, that you have the green grass is gone because it's covered by snow. On the bare thorn's breast, whose roots beside the pathway track had found their folds or many a crack which the frost had made between. And then let's see what we get with the next stanza. So I'm just getting descriptions and visuals right now. Maybe you're getting more. Thine eyes glowed in the glare of the moon's dying light. So right there, we now get a kind of personal attribution, right? Thine eyes, your eyes, glowed in the glare of the moon's dying night. There's that moon again, and the moon was sinking before. So the moon is dying in a certain sense if it's sinking behind the clouds or behind something dark. Thine eyes glowed in the glare of the moon's dying light as a fen fire's beam. Fen fire. So fen is one of those words. I think I have an idea of the definition, but we'll definitely want to make sure. There's a lot of definitions. So the one I assume the poetic version is a lowland covered wholly or partially with some kind of shallow grass or something like that. Let's see. That's all that's my understanding of what a fen is. It's like a lowland area, like a grassy knoll type place. As a fen fire's beam on a sluggish steam. That's just fen fire. What do you think fen fire means? Put in the comments if you think. A sluggish steam gleams dimly to the moon shone there, and it yellowed the strings of thy tangled hair that shook in the wind of night. This is like a painting, right? Like he's describing what could easily be a painting. With a bitter breath of thine eyes glowed at the glare of the moon's dying light as a fen fire's beam. So I almost wonder if there's something about the fen fire that it's because I'm getting ghostly images. And maybe that's because I kind of got some images above, of death, the sinking snow. Like there's a real gothic feel to it. So I might be attuned to that, but it just feels like some kind of, I don't know, like what are those things called? Those glowing fantasy creatures, like a will-o-wisp, as a fen fire's beam. Maybe that's what a fen fire is. On a sluggish stream, gleams dimly to the moon shone there, and it yellowed the strings of your tangled hair that shook in the wind of night. So think about that whole image, and I'm trying to picture that in my mind. Your eyes glowed in the glare. So are her eyes open and glowing of the moon's dying light, as like a will-o-wisp is shining out on a sluggish stream. So picture like a will-o-wisp. It's dark. You could see the clouds. It's, snow covered everything, or snow's not seen. It's all dead or something. Gleams dimly. So the moon shone there, this dying moon, right? The moon is dying right now. And it yellowed the strings. So you're getting a little bit of the image of I guess it's yellowed hair, And it yellowed the strings of thy tangled hair. Her hair is all tangled up. That shook in the wind of night. Interesting. Okay, last stanza. The wind made thy bosom chill. The night did shed on thy dear head its frozen dew, and thou didst lie where the bitter breath of the naked sky might visit thee at will. The wind made thy bosom chill. This makes me think of the Edgar Allan Poe poem, Chilling and Killing My Annabel Lee. The wind made thy... So I'm getting the feeling that she might be dead. She doesn't necessarily have to be dead. She could just be like dead-like. I do know, and I don't know the timeline, so I don't know if this is relevant. I do know that Percy's pregnant wife died, a few weeks before he marries Mary Godwin, who became Mary Shelley. Percy Shelley's first wife, I think, drowned. And I wonder if this is about her or something. So like, I wonder, so like, what's the subject of each of these? The subject of this first one could definitely be something like the universe. The second one could be something more like, we're getting descriptions of maybe a landscape. So we're kind of zooming in, right? We start up in this cosmos, and we zoom in to see the darkened area. And then we zoom in more on her eyes. And then we kind of look through her body, either dead. That's what I'm getting there. Because we're getting, lips, bosom, head, right? So we're getting kind of a visual of her body. So I would read this in two different ways as potentially true. And the first way that I would read this is, it's more like, it really feels like he comes across a dead body. I think you can see this as she's just a sleeping woman. Thine eyes glowed in the like he's just seeing her beautiful there. But I think there's something going on with both of those things, where he finds this beautiful corpse that's his wife, or it's the feeling of death that it gives, that, reflecting on this dead young woman who, possibly died. I don't know if she committed, if she did herself in. I can't remember if she did that or not. I think so. And this is his sensation of death. I know he was always very dealing with death as a concept, because I think toward the end, he thought he was dying of consumption when he wasn't, and he ended up drowning somewhere. I can't remember exactly where. So anyway, I really enjoy this poem. It's one that I will explore some more. But this was an easy poem to get a kind of general sense of. Let's see if there's anything. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely fun to read. There's something to this whole concept of, he sees this beautiful corpse that's someone he loves, and this is his feeling of that. He kind of swoops down from the cosmos, witnesses the scene, and again, and all around with a chilling sound from caves of ice and fields of snow, the breath of night like death did flow. So this is where I'm getting the death feeling. I can't imagine seeing this as a living woman, maybe, but we have the cosmos itself. The breath of night like death did flow is exhaling death. And, the death has deceptive lights, like this fen fire. I want to look into that more. I don't know enough about what that is. So I think that is a quick exploration of a poem. That's how I start with poetry. I often don't have like an agenda or what I'm trying to figure. I'm just trying to figure out what I think the poet's trying to have me experience. And it often takes me multiple readings before I really have an understanding of this. And that's what I hope that you get in if you watch this video later. I hope you get out of this and out of other videos. I'll try this probably a couple more times, see if anybody's interested. But I think there's something really powerful in reading poetry once in a while and then finding poems that you really like. So, the analogy that I give is it's kind of like networking and meeting new people, which can be exhausting, but the value of it is that most of the people you meet, if you wander and talk to people at an event, at a party, at a conference, you're not going to connect really with most people. But once in a while, you might make a connection that's a good connection. Maybe you'll follow up with them, maybe not, but it'll feel good. You might have a good moment. And then every once in a while, you'll strike on something that's really going to hit you. And like meeting a person that, becomes your partner, becomes a business partner, a lover, something like that. That can happen, but it only happens if you explore. And that's what I hope you'll do with poetry. Okay, so I'll see you next time.